The human key in the deep cold space, a dark prison floats near a dying red star. This prison is not normal, it is ancient. Built by the oldest alien races to hide one secret. Inside the core of the prison, there is a cell. The cell holds a chained being. An alien beauty with silver skin and glowing eyes. Her name is unknown to most. She is called only the Silent Queen. Her chains are alive. Made from biotech that reacts only to one kind of touch for hundreds of years. Many tried to free her aliens. With powers, machines with lasers, even royal armies. But none could break the chains, each one failed, each one vanished. Galaxies soon believed the prison cannot be broken, and the Silent Queen cannot be freed. Far away on a nearby moon, a human ship crashes. The pilot is not a soldier, he is a scavenger. He collects old tech and sells it. His name is Cade. He is alone. His ship is broken. He sends out a small drone for help, but the drone picks up a strange signal. It finds the prison. It connects to it by mistake. The prison sees the human signal and allows entry. No alarms, no guards. Because humans are not a threat to the prison, Cade follows the signal. He finds an old transport dock. He walks inside. The halls are cold, silent, strange writing on the walls. He does not understand, but he keeps moving. His torch lights up an ancient map. He follows the path. He reaches a large round chamber. In the center is a glowing cage. Inside it, the Silent Queen floats, eyes closed, chains wrapped around her arms and legs. She looks like she is sleeping, but Cade feels something like a voice in his mind, soft, calling him. He steps closer. The air is heavy. The chains make a low sound. He raises his hand. The moment he touches the chain, it glows. The light is blue, soft, warm. The chain begins to shake. Then it becomes loose, only a little, but enough to be seen. Cade steps back in shock. The chamber shakes. Warning lights flash on the walls. The prison wakes up. Then the Queen opens her eyes. They shine like stars. She looks at him. Her lips do not move, but he hears her voice, not in his ears, but in his mind. She says, "Finally you have come." Cade blinks. He cannot believe what just happened. She says again, "You are the first who can touch the chain, the first who does not break under its test." Cade says nothing. He wants to run, but his feet do not move. He asks who she is. She answers slowly, "I was once a ruler, a voice for peace, but they feared my power. They locked me here. Only one with true will can free me. Only a human." Cade laughs. He says humans are not special, just lucky sometimes. She smiles. "A lie told by many. Your kind is rare. You feel what others fear." Alarms start ringing. Doors begin to open. Metal steps echo from above. Guards are coming. She looks at him again. "If you leave now, they will kill you. If you stay, you can free me. What will you do, human?" Cade looks at her. He sees fear in her eyes, real fear, not fake, not a trick. He remembers his past. He remembers a war, a lost family, a broken world. He never saved anyone, not even himself. Maybe this is his chance. He walks forward. He touches the chain again. This time it glows brighter. It melts like ice. One link falls off. The Queen gasps. First time in centuries, she feels her arm free. Cade hears a sound, a deep roar. The guards are near, but he does not stop. He grabs the next chain. It starts to crack. The Queen whispers again, "You are the key." And the chamber shakes once more as light fills the room, and a new legend begins. Asterisk. The alarms were louder now. Red lights flashed through the dark halls of the prison. Metal doors opened slowly, one by one. Heavy steps echoed like thunder. The guards were coming. Not normal guards, tall creatures with metal skin and no eyes. They moved without sound. They hunted without mercy. Cade stood near the Silent Queen. One of her arms was free now. The chain had melted like ice. The broken link still glowed on the floor. She looked at him with eyes full of something he did not understand. Not just hope, something older, deeper. She said he must hurry. The prison would try to stop him. It would fight back, not just with guards, but with traps, with fear, with lies. Cade felt sweat on his neck. He had no weapon, no plan, only his hands and her voice in his mind. She asked him to take her hand. He hesitated, then reached out. Their hands touched. A shock of energy passed through him. His heart beat faster, but he felt stronger, like her power was flowing into him, or maybe waking something already inside him. The door behind them opened. 3 metal guards entered. They raised their arms. Energy built in their weapons. Cade grabbed the last chain. It burned his skin. He shouted in pain, but he pulled anyway. The chain cracked, then snapped. The silent queen dropped to her knees. She gasped for air. She was weak but free. The guards fired. A blast of blue light shot at them. Cade jumped forward. The blast missed. He picked her up. She was light like air. He ran through the side tunnel. The path was dark. Hot steam hissed from the walls. She guided him with her voice. Left, right, down. They reached an old vent. She said it led to the service docks where old ships once came for fuel. The vent was small. Cade pushed her through first, then followed. His arms ached. His skin burned from the chain, but he kept moving behind them. The guards followed, claws tearing through the walls, roars shaking the metal. Vent opened to a hallway. A broken hallway. Pieces of the roof had fallen. Wires sparked on the ground. In the corner was a control panel. Old and dusty. Cade reached for it. The queen placed her hand above his. Together they touched it. The panel lit. Up the hallway changed. Walls moved. A secret door opened. They entered a hidden chamber. Inside was a pod. Not a big ship, just an escape pod. Enough for 2. The queen said the pod was old, but fast. If they reached the edge of the prison field, it could jump to safety. But first it needed power. Cade checked the fuel cell. Empty. He looked around. The room had 1 energy core, still glowing, but behind a locked gate. He stepped toward it. A voice filled the room, not hers. The prison. It spoke with no sound. Only cold thoughts. You do not belong here. You are weak. You will fail. You will die. Cade shouted back, not with words, with action. He picked up a metal rod, swung it at the lock. Once, twice. On the 3rd swing it broke. The core buzzed. Power flowed to the pod. Lights turned green. The queen helped him inside. The pod shook as it activated. The guards reached the door. Too late. With a blast of light, the pod launched through the broken tunnel into the dark of space. The prison behind them screamed a sound of rage, of loss. Inside the pod, silence returned. Only the soft hum of engines. The queen looked at Cade, her eyes no longer cold. She said he had done what no one could. He asked why him. She said the chains were made by minds that feared emotion. They thought power was control. But real power comes from choice, from pain, from heart. Only a human could break the chains, because only humans carry the weight of sorrow and still choose to fight. Cade leaned back. His hands still hurt. His body was tired. But he felt something new, not just strength, not just pride, a purpose. He looked at the stars ahead, the queen beside him, and the prison far behind. The journey had just begun. The stars outside the pod moved slowly, cold and silent, like watching a dream float through space. Inside the pod, Cade sat with his back against the wall. His arms still ached from the chains. His breath was slow, but his eyes stayed open beside him. The silent queen rested. Her silver hair shimmered in the low light. She was still weak, still quiet, but her mind reached his with calm whispers. Not words, only feelings, safety, gratitude. A storm coming closer. The pod systems beeped once, then again. A red flash on the screen caught Cade's eye. He moved closer. Read the message. A ship was approaching. Fast. Unknown signature. Unknown weapons. No ID. No flag. Queen stood slowly, her legs still shaky, but her face calm. She said this was expected. She said the prison lords would not allow her escape without a hunter. Cade asked what kind of hunter. She said one built only to destroy. No emotion, no fear, no rest. The pod shook. Something locked on from behind. A tractor beam pulled them toward the enemy ship. They had seconds, maybe less. Cade opened the supply locker. Inside were old tools, 1 laser torch, 1 shock baton, a small shield. Not much. He took them all. Gave the shield to the queen. She nodded and placed her hand on his chest. He felt a warmth spread through him, like light entering his bones. She said her power would not last long, but it would be enough for one moment of truth. The pod doors opened. They were pulled into a dark hangar. Steam rose from the floor metal walls with strange marks. No signs of life. Cade stepped out first. The baton in his hand, his heart beat faster, not from fear, but from something else. A feeling he had not known since he was a child. The Queen followed, silent, focused. From the shadows, a shape moved. It was tall, twice Cade's height, covered in black armor. Its face was a mirror, no eyes, no mouth, only a reflection. The hunter. It stepped forward. Each footfall shook the floor. It raised one arm. A weapon grew from its wrist, glowing blue, deadly. Cade charged. He knew it was madness, but he had no choice. He rolled under the first blast, swung the baton, hit the leg. Nothing. The hunter turned fast. Hit Cade with the back of its hand. Cade flew across the floor. Pain exploded in his chest, but he stood. Again the Queen raised her hand. A wave of energy flowed toward the hunter. It stopped for a second. Confused, like it felt something new, Cade used that second, ran forward, jumped on its back, used the laser torch, cut at the neck. Sparks flew. The hunter roared. It was not human, but it felt rage. It reached back, grabbed Cade, threw him down. Cade hit the ground hard. He could not breathe, but he saw the Queen moving now. Her hands glowing, her eyes bright. She whispered into the air. The ship trembled. Cade stood again. One last time he ran, jumped high, drove the torch into the hunter's chest. The Queen sent a pulse of energy. It passed through Cade, through the torch into the hunter. The armor cracked. The light inside the hunter turned red, then black. Silence. The hunter fell. Smoke rose. Its body twitched, then stopped. Cade fell to his knees. The Queen caught him, held him like a brother, like a friend lost and found again. She said he had done what no alien could. He had faced the thing made to end him and won. Cade looked at the hunter, then at his own hands burned, shaking, alive. The Queen said they could not stay. Others would come. Stronger, smarter. Cade asked what now. She said they must find the others like her. Others kept in chains across the stars, some in prisons, some in hiding, all waiting. He nodded. He stood again, still breathing. He looked at the stars outside. They were still cold, still far, but now they were a path, not just a sky. The Queen smiled, called him the key, the stormbreaker. The heart of chaos in a galaxy built on silence. Cade smiled back, not because he understood, but because he believed her, and the ship turned toward the stars, toward the next step, toward the fight not yet fought. Asterisk. The pod drifted through space like a small bird lost in a storm. Cade and the silent Queen looked at the stars ahead. Behind them lay danger and death. Before them, hope and fight. The Queen's strength was growing slowly but surely. Her chains were gone, but her power was still weak. She needed time. And as Cade knew, the galaxy was not safe for them. The prison lords would send hunters again, more dangerous ones this time. They would not stop until she was locked away or dead. They decided to hide on a small planet, one forgotten by most, a place with forests and rivers. Quiet and green. The pod landed softly. They stepped out. The air was fresh. Birds sang somewhere far away. But the peace did not last. Cade felt eyes watching. Not natural eyes, eyes full of hate and hunger from the trees and shadows. Suddenly, the ground shook. The bushes exploded open. Metallic beasts rushed at them. Hunters sent by the prison lords, designed to kill without mercy. Cade grabbed a fallen branch. The Queen prepared her hands to fight. The beasts attacked fast, with claws like knives and teeth sharper than steel. But Cade swung the branch hard, breaking one beast's jaw. The Queen sent waves of energy, blasting two more back into the forest. They fought side by side. Cade's strength was in his will. The Queen's power was in her light. Together they were unstoppable. But more beasts came, stronger and faster. One caught Cade's leg. He fell hard. Pain shot through his body. He gritted his teeth and kicked the beast away. The Queen screamed. Her power exploded around them. Light and fire filled the air. The beast screamed and ran. The forest was silent again. Cade looked at the Queen. She was breathing hard. Her face was tired but fierce. She said this fight was only the beginning. They needed help, someone who knew the galaxy better, someone who could help them reach others in chains. Cade thought of an old friend, a pilot who knew hidden places and secret routes. He was a rebel against the prison lords and their cruel laws. They called him Jax. They found Jax living in a floating city built on the remains of a dead world. Jax was rough and quiet, his eyes sharp like a hawk's. He listened carefully when they told their story. He agreed to help, but warned them it would be dangerous. The prison lords had spies everywhere. Trust was a rare thing. Jax's ship was small but fast, equipped with hidden weapons and shields. They boarded quietly, leaving the green planet behind as they flew through the dark. The Queen told more of her past. She was once a diplomat, trying to bring peace between warlike races, but she was betrayed. Captured, locked in chains, made to hold even her power. She said the chains were not just metal, they were built from fear of what she represented. Hope, change, freedom. Cade listened. He felt his own fears fade, replaced by anger and purpose. Suddenly, alarms blared. Jax shouted, "We're under attack!" They were caught in a trap. A fleet of prison ships surrounded them. Lasers fired. The ship shook violently. Cade grabbed the Queen. The Queen raised her hands. Energy crackled. A shield formed around the ship. Jax fired back, dodging lasers. His skill was clear. But there were too many ships. The Queen's power grew. She sent bolts of light through the windows, destroying enemy fighters. But the shields were weakening. Cade shouted, "We need to get out of here." Jax nodded. He hit the thrusters hard. The ship jumped into hyperspace, leaving the fleet behind. The Queen collapsed, exhausted. Cade held her. He knew they had won this battle. But the war was far from over. They reached a hidden base, a place where rebels gathered, people who refused to bow to the prison lords. Here they found hope, other prisoners, others who wanted freedom. The Queen touched Cade's arm. "You are more than the key. You are the spark." Cade looked around at the faces of those ready to fight, and for the first time he believed in a new future. The hidden base was a place of whispers and hope. Old lights flickered on broken walls. People walked with careful steps. They watched Cade and the silent Queen with curious eyes. Jax led them through winding halls. He spoke to no one. His face was hard, but his hands trembled just a little. The Queen rested in a quiet room. Her energy was slow to return, but her eyes were always watching, always thinking. Cade sat beside her. He asked her about the chains, why only he could break them, why they had such strange power. The Queen took his hand. Her voice was a gentle wind in his mind. She showed him memories, a great hall full of shining beings, rulers from many worlds. They talked of peace but feared each other. They feared change. They built the chains from their own fears, a living metal able to sense the heart of any who touched it. Only one who could feel pain and hope at once could break the chains. Only a heart that had known loss and still reached for light. No alien could do it. No machine could even try. Only a human soul could pass that test. The chains were a prison and a lesson, a warning to all who saw them. Cade's mind spun with new understanding. He was not just a stranger who happened to come. He was the answer to a question the galaxy was afraid to ask. Could hope survive darkness? Could freedom win against fear? The Queen smiled, her face soft now, not just royal, but kind. Suddenly, alarms rang through the base. Red lights flashed. Jax ran in, shouting. They had been found. Bounty hunters were coming, led by a traitor who once called himself friend. Cade jumped to his feet. He grabbed a metal bar for defense. The Queen stood as well. She closed her eyes and gathered her power. Her silver hair seemed to glow in the red light outside the door. Boots thundered on the floor. A group of bounty hunters entered. Their leader was a tall alien with scars across his face. He sneered at Cade. He told Cade he was worth a fortune now. He would sell the Queen and buy his own planet. He pointed his weapon at her. Cade stood in front of the Queen. He said the only way past him was through him. The bounty hunter laughed, then shot a blast of energy. Cade rolled to the side. The blast hit the wall and sent sparks flying. Jax fired back with his own weapon. A wild shootout filled the hallway with smoke and chaos. The Queen raised her hand. A wave of force knocked 2 bounty hunters to the ground. Another tried to grab her. Cade swung his bar and knocked him down. The traitor ran for the control room. He wanted to open the doors and let more hunters inside. Cade saw him and chased after. He ran down twisting halls, jumped over broken pipes. Finally, he tackled the traitor before he reached the controls. They wrestled on the floor. Cade's anger burned. He remembered every friend lost, every promise broken. He did not let go. He fought like he was fighting for every human who ever dreamed of freedom. The queen came to his side. She placed her hand on the traitor's head. A flash of memory hit him. The traitor saw her pain, her hope. He dropped his weapon. He began to cry. He was no longer an enemy. Jax and the rebels pushed back the last of the bounty hunters. The base was safe again for now. Cade helped the queen to her feet. She looked tired, but proud. Her power had saved them all. Cade asked her what would happen next. She said the truth must be shared. The galaxy must know that the chains were built on fear, that only a human heart could break them, and that freedom was not just for the strong, but for all who dared to hope. Jax promised to spread the word. He would call old friends. He would gather anyone willing to stand against the prison lords. The rebels gathered in the main hall. The queen spoke, her voice calm and strong. She told them what Cade had done, what he meant. He was the key. He was the proof that the galaxy could change. People listened. Some cried. Some cheered. For the first time, hope was stronger than fear. Cade looked at the faces around him. He saw trust. He saw courage. He knew the fight was not over, but he was ready. The truth about the chains was now their weapon, and together they would use it to free the stars. Asterisk. Hidden base filled with new hope was now their home, but Cade knew this was only a start. The prison lords would never stop hunting the queen and others like her. The chains were more than metal. They were symbols of fear and control across the galaxy. Jax called everyone together. His voice was rough but strong. He spoke of a secret prison deep in space, one more hidden than the first, guarded by powerful ships and deadly machines. Inside were beings just like the queen, locked in chains that no one believed could break. This place was called the last prison. If it fell, the galaxy would change forever. The queen stepped forward, her presence calm but powerful. She said they had no choice but to fight. To free those inside would mean a new era for all races. A galaxy without chains, without fear. Plans were made quickly. Jax gathered pilots, rebels, and old warriors, ships loaded with weapons and shields prepared to leave. Cade sat quietly watching. His mind raced. This fight would be harder than before, maybe impossible, but he felt no fear, only purpose. The queen found him alone in a quiet room. She placed her hand gently on his shoulder. Her voice reached him softly. She said he had changed everything, not just by breaking chains, but by showing courage that could inspire anyone. She said the galaxy now believed in humans, not as weak beings but as heroes. Cade smiled quietly. His heart felt warm with pride. The fleet left the hidden base, a line of ships shining against the darkness of space. Jax led them carefully, hiding their signals until the last moment. The last prison appeared like a dark shadow. Huge, cold, and silent guard ships moved around it slowly like predators. Jax signaled the attack. Lights flashed, lasers fired, and ships moved like lightning. The battle was fierce from the first moment. Ships exploded, fire spread, and cries filled the radio. Cade and the queen flew with Jax, their ship dodging blasts from every direction. The queen used her power to shield them. Cade fired the ship's weapons with skill and calm. They reached the prison docks under heavy fire. The landing shook them hard, but they were alive. Inside was chaos. Prison guards rushed toward them, metal beings strong and ruthless. But Cade fought without stopping. He moved with courage and strength he never knew before. Jax battled beside him, his face hard but eyes bright with purpose. The queen moved forward slowly, her power growing with every step. She sent waves of energy, clearing paths and opening doors. They moved deeper into the prison, toward the cells, where others waited in chains. Finally they reached the main chamber. Huge chains hung from the ceiling, holding many prisoners. Aliens of different kinds, all powerful, all imprisoned. The queen raised her hands. Her voice filled the minds of every prisoner. She spoke of freedom, of courage, of hope. The prisoners raised their heads for the first time in centuries. They felt the possibility of escape. Cade stepped forward. He touched the first chain. It glowed brightly, then melted away one by one. He moved to each prisoner, breaking their chains. Each touch brought freedom and strength back to them. But suddenly the prison shook. The prison lords had sent reinforcements. The guards attacked with new force. The queen called out to the freed prisoners. She told them now was their moment. Their fight for freedom had begun. Together they stood tall. Together they fought back. The battle became fierce and brutal. Energy blasts shook the walls. Cade fought at the queen's side, protecting her with every breath. Her strength was growing. She was becoming unstoppable. At last the guards retreated. The prison was falling apart around them. Jocks called from their ship. They had only moments to escape. They ran together through breaking walls and fire. Ships waited outside, ready to carry them away. The queen paused at the exit. She looked back at the broken chains, then smiled softly at Cade. She said this place of fear was now a place of victory. Because of him, the ships left the last prison as it exploded behind them. Light filled the darkness brighter than any star. Freedom was theirs, and the galaxy knew it. On the ships, Cade saw smiles and tears. He saw hope in every face. He saw what humans could do when they believed. The queen held his hand. She whispered that now the galaxy would finally know the truth. Humans were never weak. They were the key that could unlock anything, even the strongest chains. They flew onward, free together, unstoppable. Stars shimmered softly outside the windows of Jax's ship. Silence filled the space between fighters who had just won a great battle. The last prison had fallen, and chains once thought unbreakable now lay shattered. Freedom spread through space like ripples on calm water. Cade stood by the silent queen, looking out at the endless galaxy. He felt different. A new strength and quiet joy had taken root inside him. He had faced his deepest fears and found courage he never imagined. Jax approached with steady steps. His eyes were bright. He placed a hand on Cade's shoulder and nodded slowly. No words needed. The meaning was clear. They had done something incredible, but the fight was not yet fully finished. The prison lords would try again. Fear still lingered in hidden corners of worlds across the stars. The queen turned calmly to face everyone aboard. Her voice reached every mind, soft yet firm. She spoke of the chains and how they had bound hearts for too long. She spoke of a new beginning, now possible because of what Cade had shown them. She called Cade the human key once again, but now he understood. He was not just breaking chains. He was opening hearts to courage. Their ship arrived at the great central station, a place where leaders from all worlds gathered. The queen said it was time for the truth to be told openly. Entered a grand hall where countless beings waited silently. Eyes from 1,000 worlds stared at Cade with curiosity and wonder. The queen stepped forward. Her presence filled the room like gentle sunlight. She shared the story of their fight, of Cade and the chains he broke. How humans carried something special deep inside them, something even powerful leaders had forgotten existed. The hall murmured softly at first, then louder. Questions and voices rose like a wave. Some doubted, some feared this change. Others felt hope stirred deeply in their hearts. Then the queen called for Cade to speak. He stepped forward, slowly looking at the faces around him. He was no hero, he said, simply just a human who chose hope when fear seemed easier. He reminded them that courage was a choice every being could make. He showed them that real strength came from compassion, not weapons or power, from believing in something greater than chains or prisons. The room fell quiet again. His words touched deeply. Beings who had long forgotten what it meant to hope suddenly remembered. The galaxy was changing right there at that moment. A figure stepped forward from the crowd, a ruler who once helped build the chains. His face was heavy with regret. He asked forgiveness. He had learned from Cade that even leaders could change. Others followed one by one. Leaders who once feared freedom now asked how to build it. The silent queen smiled gently at Cade. The galaxy had heard his truth clearly. Days passed, news spread far and fast. Chains everywhere began to fall. People once locked in fear now walked free. Hope became a language spoken widely again. Humans were no longer seen as weak, but as bearers of something beautiful. Cade stood alone later, looking at the stars. His heart felt calm and peaceful. The Queen joined him quietly. She said humans had always been a mystery to the galaxy. Their courage, compassion, and hope seemed too simple yet powerful. That mystery was finally understood. Humans were not just keys but mirrors, showing the galaxy what it could become. The Queen's power had fully returned now, her strength no longer hidden but a beacon for others. She asked Cade to stay with her as a friend and ally, to travel the stars, showing others how to break their chains. Cade agreed quietly. He knew his journey was far from finished, but he felt ready to face whatever came next. Together, they boarded a new ship ready to explore. Jox and the rebels waved farewell, promising always to stand by them. The ship lifted into space, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. On worlds far and wide, people talked about the human key. They shared stories of courage, kindness, and hope. Children dreamed of journeys to distant stars. Leaders spoke openly about freedom. Cade watched the galaxy unfold before him, filled with possibilities. He was not just a human now, he was proof that every heart could break free of its chains, proof that anyone could choose courage, could choose hope. As they moved through space, he felt deeply connected to everything around him. The universe, once dark and cold, felt alive and warm. The chains were broken, and nothing would ever be the same again. Cade looked forward to a future full of promise, a universe reborn in freedom. The silent Queen smiled, knowing the human key had finally unlocked the galaxy's greatest secret, that chains could always be broken, and now every heart knew how.